Hey everyone, welcome to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. In today's Pick a Card, we're going to be doing practical steps to take for your next glow up. We're first going to be covering what your next glow up will be, and then the practical steps to take to get there. I'm going to keep these readings short and sweet. My follow through with readings hasn't been so good lately. I've been filming Pick a Cards with like 30-minute piles, but then I can't finish the rest of the groups for whatever reason, stuff like that. So I'm going to try to keep these shorter just so I can get through all three groups today and have the follow through to do that. But let's get into it. Okay, so 3 groups in front of us for practical steps for your next glow up and what that glow up will be. So our first crystal here is, I want to call this like forest calcite. That's not its official name, but I do want to call it that because this looks almost like a forest of trees is how I kind of see that. It also kind of looks like sea coral or coral in some way, shape, or form. This is probably the most dynamic crystal that there is here. So that represents you. Maybe that's reason to pick this crystal. That's group 1. Group 2 is the snakeskin agate. This is interesting because snakeskin is actually referenced often with like glow ups related to the skin or glowing skin, stuff like that. In some circles, it's considered a symbol of invisibility and becoming invisible. People use this to kind of become invisible in crowds and such, or to kind of camouflage themselves. But I have kind of found this is a stone that kind of helps one focus on the details, for me personally. Now, this last one is Chrysoprase. This is group 3. This one's really interesting because I feel like it just is such a beautiful stone. I think that's one of the reasons why it stuck out to me in today's reading. Chrysoprase, I find for me, helps me deliver the truth and makes me be really honest about my perceptions and makes me speak my truth really clearly. I know normally like throat chakra stones do that, but this one really activates throat chakra energy, at least for me. I find myself singing often when I wear Chrysoprase, or feeling I can really be vocal when I wear it. For other people and what other crystal authors have talked about with this, it's a stone of compassion and love and all that good stuff. So it is a green heart-centered stone. So yeah, whichever one of these you're really drawn to, I'm really feeling, since this glow up is about you guys, pick the crystal that resonates most with you. Like, what would you wear? What would you be attracted to? As far as these crystal energies, I did mention a little bit of history behind each crystal, so hopefully that helps you prepare and maybe pick the right pile in today's groups. But whatever the case may be, always follow your intuition. And if you need more time to meditate or take time to choose your pile, you can do so. And without further ado, let's get into the groups. Okay, group 1, welcome to your reading. I already pulled 3 oracle cards for you. Your oracle cards that you got were Earth Horse, Stirring the Cauldron, Spirituality, which says Cherry Blossom, and Chinese Peacock. And we have Appreciate the Process, Cow, and Bull. I also want to roll some of my rune dice for you guys today. These are personal totem dice that I have made myself and are going to help me through this process of reading for a lot of you. Basically, the nature of your glow up based on the rune dice, the first thing that I'm seeing is we have the symbol for man and the symbol for strength here, really indicating that there might be some indications of beefing up the physical form. This feels like your next glow up is going to be done through workouts or enhancing the human body. Oh, it's so funny, I read man. This is actually a horse, which is interesting because that's the vehicle you travel with. It's also can be representative of the body in my system of reading runes, but it also is the vehicle you travel with. This represents horse in the ancient runes, Elder Futhark. And Urus usually represents strength, or the ox. So this does feel like building something stronger. This could also be getting a car or a vehicle or some kind of mode of transportation that really makes you guys feel confident in yourself and shows yourself off in your own unique sense of style or status or worth to the outside world. So depending on what you pride yourself on, I think your vehicle is going to be showing that pride on the outside. We do have Wunjo here, which is kind of the rune of joy. And I do think there will be a lot of joy in this particular time. Wunjo, I think, is also a fruit, or it's like representative of like a fruit tree or something. That might be another rune, but what I'm thinking is that this is going to bear fruit, whatever it's going to be. Your next glow up is actually going to bear fruit. And the torch means it's going to be an inspired thought That means this thought is going to come to you after reading some piece of knowledge or information, and it's going to trigger some thought in your head. So the way I would see this is that you're reading a book or something and you go, oh, that makes me think of this idea. In a way, it's going to be unrelated to the material you're reading, but it's going to be really integrated into your mind. And it's going to kind of eat at you is kind of what I'm seeing, because Kenaz is like this burning energy. So I really do feel it's going to burn through different things. I'm also seeing burning through calories because Kenaz is a torch energy. So for a lot of you, there's a feeling of burning something. Also with the car analogy, there could be burning fuel. So for you guys watching this group, it's either going to be physical form, how you move your body, burning fuel, stuff like that, strength, getting stronger. And with Kenaz there, the torch, it's about like activating knowledge, like illumination of what the goal is, and also that illumination burning away the excess fuel that it needs to kind of light the path forward. I want to say with this next glow up, you want to make sure you are eating right, you are putting the right fuel into your body. Also, if you have a car, putting the right fuel into your car. This also can be that if you have like a hybrid or something, you're making sure you're charging the battery every day or something like that, or you're making sure you have tune-ups every day, you're checking the oil every day, something like that. Well, maybe not check your oil every day, but like, you know what I mean with the car. It's like, you need to make sure the fluids are running properly in this vehicle, something like that. If a lot of you have been having car troubles, your car is about on the brink of like dying or something like that, this might be a glow up in like the vehicle that you purchase. Something about this vehicle is going to be way better than your previous vehicle. It's almost like it's well respected better in the community. People just really like the car you choose. The next car you're going to choose, it's like really, people like it, is the best way to put it. Let's see what else we got here. We have Earth Horse during the Cauldron. It's really interesting because we're entering a year of the horse, I believe. I think it's like the fire horse or something like that. And at the time of filming this, I think the actual Chinese zodiac, from what I remember, is like based on the moon cycles or something. Maybe not, but it's basically starting pretty soon, right? And it just in 2026 in general is kind of like we're kind of entering into the year of the horse. I don't remember exactly what I read about Chinese zodiac being associated with like starting in February or February 2nd or something like that. You guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm always open to hearing the actual information of things. But yeah, with the Earth Horse here, this is giving me the vibe that, yeah, we've seen a lot online about the Fire Horse, right? Like we're moving from this kind of energy, from a snake energy, was it snake energy or, I don't know. We're moving into a Fire Horse energy basically. And so one thing that I'm noticing is this is an Earth Horse. So I'm seeing a similarity in the year. It's like through this year, you're going to be noticing a lot of similarities and synchronicities as far as your glow up is concerned. And how do I put this? Like it's almost like everyone else is like really motivated and gung-ho, but you're the one going slow and steady. So I don't want you guys to get discouraged as your glow up is happening. Because I think what the glow up is something with your car, your physical body. It's transforming your physical body, or it's getting a new vehicle, something like that. But what I can see happening is that, especially with the Earth Horse here, especially with the physical body transformation, you might have a slow and steady pace through this transformation. And the cards are saying, don't give up. Whenever the outside world is in a fire energy, right? And you're really aligned with that energy. With the Earth Horse here, it's like you guys are in a grounded, stable, step-by-step process here. It's different than other people's energy. You might have always felt that, yeah, other people are zooming ahead of me in the race of life, and I'm building step by step, slowly and surely. But the thing here is your success lasts longer. These people who are going through the Fire Horse energy, it's like they have a lot of initiative, they have a lot of gung-ho to get it done. They might achieve tremendous results in a year, but you're setting the stage for long-term growth, right? That's how I'm kind of seeing the Earth energy here. And I do feel a little bit like there's a support system here. I do think in, I think it's like feng shui. I know fire kind of supports Earth in some way because I know they say fire makes ash and so it feeds Earth. And that's kind of how fire feeds Earth in the, with the Chinese zodiac system. And I'm not super familiar with it. I just kind of started getting more into it probably like 5 months ago, and then I kind of fell off. So keep that in mind, but Earth is still reminding me of stability. We have a 5-5 up here, which is like double change. I do think there's a feeling of changing with someone side by side. So there could be a feeling of working with a partner in this situation, working with a partner as far as your transformation goes. So when you're having your glow up, your partner is also having their glow up, but your partner might be skyrocketing ahead where we're comparing the Earth to the Fire Horse. So it might be that you are having a slow and steady progress where your partner is skyrocketing ahead. Now, here's the thing, a couple years down the line, 7 years down the line, your results will still be in effect. You will have the benefits of those still in place, while the person who had the fire energy could have burnt out, could have lost interest. The passion is not sustainable. This is kind of a system you're building. It's not based off the whims of the moment. Just keep that in mind. We have cherry blossoms here, which I'm being told work out in reds and whites. If you're curious about what kind of lucky colors you could have while you're working out, reds and whites are going to be really important. It's so interesting because I'm seeing the dragon here is like blue and greens, but the cherry blossom is very like reminding me of the red and white colors, right? It also looks like this dragon is straddling a kind of wand of some sort. And so I do think there's this kind of feeling that you are going to be better able to manipulate the energies around you with wearing red and white in this next period of your life. We also have Chinese peacock as the dragon, and I don't know how real these dragons are in this book. I think this author maybe made up the dragons' names, right? But she kept the actual original flowers. I would look into what cherry blossoms represent as far as beauty and glow ups and stuff like that. Wearing even stuff with cherry blossoms on them is going to be something that's very beneficial coming up while you're achieving your glow up. If you have a shirt with cherry blossoms on it, perfect. And then red and white obviously make pink. If you're someone who wants to wear pink, wear pink. Pink is going to be helping you in your glow up. But I'm specifically seeing the contrast of red on white. It's so interesting because cherry blossoms are super beautiful, and people, when they bloom, travel across the globe to go see them bloom. This is what you are giving this year. It's like, because you're in the process of working through your glow up and you're blooming in this period of your life, this next upcoming year, I really do feel, and yes, these readings are timeless. They can be applied in a timeless fashion. So keep in mind that the metaphors I'm saying do apply for your year. The earth horse and me talking about the fire horse, yes, it relates to this year, this moment, this time I'm doing the reading. However, how do I put this? But it's just a symbolism for the reading you're receiving in the present moment, right? So just take that what it is. You could be having a slow and steady growth with impulsive people around you having the same type of growth, no matter what year it is. This fire horse year and this earth horse year are just symbols for me to help me interpret the message for you guys, right? The information is in the message. It also can be in like cards you're seeing on the screen. And if you see any synchronicities, that can be a way to like know readings for you as well. But with spirituality here, this is going to be a spiritual journey, right? It's not just going to be physical. It's not just going to be tangible. It's going to be spiritual. I'm seeing these flames over here with this guy in the cauldron. Make sure you cook your meals really well. I'm hearing, make sure you, there's something about cooking completely and thoroughly what you're eating. There's a feeling of a temptation, or you guys might have recently thought like, oh, like I want to eat something raw or something like that. Or you're thinking about some kind of new diet or new thing where you eat something raw. Check the health stuff with that. And, not that you guys would ever eat like raw chicken or something like that, but I know there's like certain people who do eat raw chicken or raw eggs, stuff like that. But make sure you are cooking this stuff. I'm hearing it might not do well for your digestive system. And if you don't, if you might have to learn the hard way, right? Always follow your own judgment, but at the same time, like in this particular situation, I'm being told follow the science, like what diseases are, you know what I'm saying? Like are present in certain meats and certain things that you have to cook thoroughly. Make sure you're washing your vegetables fully before you eat them, because sometimes there's like pesticides and stuff on vegetables, or just things that are like in the environment on vegetables that you might not be aware of, right? I'm also hearing stews and soups. Soup and stew is going to be your best friend. Food that is partly liquid, partly solid is going to be good for you, I'm hearing, in the upcoming periods, especially in the winter months of this journey and this glow up. Because it's an earth energy, I do think this is a long-term type of glow up. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. It is something that you're going to sustainably build over time. The good news is with this next glow up, you have the strength to do so. When it comes, that's all the stuff with the physical part of the glow up. I'm going to pull tarot cards too eventually, but I just want to get the main gist of this glow up with the oracle and the rune dice. For a lot of you who are getting a new car, right? You're being asked to either think about purchasing a red car with red paint or white car with white paint because of the cherry blossoms here. I also think there's something else about being able to maneuver better in the world while your car is either the color red or the color white. So really consider those options as a color for your vehicle. If you are thinking about purchasing a vehicle, maybe you've already been really drawn to certain cars like red cars or something like that. For some of you, I'm hearing you're really drawn to white cars or red cars, but you'll end up getting the opposite one. So like say you're really drawn to white cars, you might end up getting a red car, or there might be a vehicle online or something that there's only a red option available and it's like a really good deal. And so you end up choosing the red option even though you wanted a white car, or vice versa. You really wanted a red car and a white car is the one you end up getting. With the earth horse thing here and like this fuel and the cooking it, this pot cooking, I'm seeing this feeling of like, what is it? Burning the midnight oil is coming to mind. With the car thing, I actually hear a lot of you are going to be working extra hours at night, trying to get enough money to pay for this new car. And I think it's going to be a slow and steady process. So it's one of those things where I think if your employer is asking if you want to work at night, you're being encouraged to do so, especially if you're getting overtime pay, because I think over like a period of, I'm hearing 4 or 5 months, something like that, you will be able to save up enough money to pay for that vehicle. And I think you'll be really happy that you did. It's coming through that there's a feeling of satisfaction with the extra work. And I'm hearing easy work, something about nighttime being easy work. And I'm hearing like getting good sleep in the mornings. It's like, it's going to help your schedule a little bit. Where you like work a little bit later at night and then you kind of get to sleep through the day, something like that. And then you get a bigger paycheck too. So I think this is something that some of you are kind of a little bit of a night owl anyway. You're more active at night for most of you. And so there's this feeling of, in a way, getting more done at night. So that's where burning the midnight oil comes into play. It's like, there might also be stuff you have to get done around the house or something like that that happens at midnight, something like that. With this cow and bull here for the car metaphor, if you're a part of the group that's getting the car, I'm hearing something sturdy and reliable, especially with the earth horse, especially with the cow, is going to be your best bet. And I think it's one of those things where that's going to be something that's in. It's the next thing that's in for the time period where you have this car. Something reliable is coming through. So something like a truck or like an SUV or something that really can like take a heavy load as far as like a car vehicle can go. Something fragile. Research your cars, because I'm hearing the next glow up you'll have, like, reliability is considered here, and there's going to be a lot of talk about car companies when you have this car or this mode of transportation. For some of you, for some of my younger viewers, I hear you're averse to getting cars. I'm hearing you don't want a car and you might actually prefer a bike or a scooter or something like that, and that's going to be the next glow up. Is just the fact that you have this like more eco-friendly mode of transportation, and everyone's like really impressed with that. I'm seeing the pyramids in the background and the triangles remind me of fame. I just think you're going to be a little famous with this vehicle or something like that. Like, I think a lot of people are going to want rides places. I think a lot of people are going to like always want to hang out with you because of this car or something like that. And I want to point out that just because you have a cool car, that does not mean that that's like where your self-worth is coming from. Although stuff like that can help. I'm not going to lie. Stuff like that can help. Stuff in the material world, it can make us feel better about ourselves when we buy a shirt that fits or a car that fits our sense of self, something like that. It's so funny, and it's so funny this reading came out and I'm getting the car message, because there's my dream car. Someone in my neighborhood is like driving my dream car and they park right in front of my house. It's so funny. And then I pull up with the car that I was had to get stuck with. Personally, I don't have the best car karma as like an individual. I think it because I have like some Saturn Neptune stuff around the area of my third house, and that's why I think it is. But for whatever reason, why I just don't have that good of car karma in a way. It's like I always get a car that my cars are always odd or different or stand out in some way. But your guys' car feels very like integrated into like society and your personality, and it feels like a moment of appreciation and pride. Maybe it's been a long time coming because we have this earth horse energy here, right? So it might be that you save up a lot this year to get this car, and it's like by the end of the year you have this beautiful like Lamborghini. I don't know, like maybe some of you are not going to get a Lamborghini, you know, it's kind of that's an expensive vehicle, but you know, whatever. It's like you get the vehicle you want, you get the mode of transportation, because this rune, this horse rune, this is the symbol for horse. This is the same way I see the chariot. It's the vehicle that moves you through the world. It's different than the body. The body is stuff that's like going on within. The body can be like a way to move through the world. So there is a synonymy there, but synonymy, is that a word? Who knows? The one thing I want to point out though is it can be a car, it can be a skateboard, it can be an airplane, it can be a private jet, it could be, you know, like in a more metaphysical term, it could be the way you astral travel psychically. Although for a lot of you, I'm not seeing that. This feels like a very practical, earthy, rooted in materialism kind of energy. But with spirituality here, it has a spiritual undertone. You know, there's something spiritual or a connection you're going to have with your vehicle or your body after this glow up is done. It definitely feels like this vibe of, yeah, I have a beautiful car, and it really represents the hard work I put into it. So this card symbolizes when hard work pays off. For a lot of you, that's going to be the case with the Earth Horse here. For others of you, this car is representative of part of your soul, you know. And some people might disagree with me and think that spirituality is divorced from materialism. And it doesn't have to be. It can be very integrated in materialism. That's why specific religious factions throughout culture and throughout time have used like icons or symbols or things of that nature. Like people, I mean, a lot, like look at me, like I use crystals. Crystals are a material form of spirituality. Each crystal carries a different energy. And for me, I believe that. And I work with crystals all the time. And so spirituality is not just totally devoid of materialism. It can be integrated with it and a representation of it. So just keep that in mind. And for those of you who kind of don't believe that, you still believe spirituality is its own separate thing from the material world, you still are going to get your glow up of your body and your car and stuff like that. But spirituality talks about having spiritual lessons along the way through this process. So let's see, let's pull some tarot cards now. So we know what the glow up is. It's going to be a vehicle glow up or a body glow up. For those of you who are having car troubles or your car's breaking down right now, you know it's going to be a vehicle glow up. I don't see a major surprise with your car breaking down. It's just like a steady decline is kind of what I'm seeing for most of you. I don't really see any sudden energy, right? We have earth energy stable, cow and bull sturdy and stable. It doesn't feel like no towers are popping up. I mean, still have to get the tarot cards, but no towers are popping up in this situation. See, I don't want to speak too soon because I know there's a tower in this deck, but it does not feel, just offhand, it does not feel like a sudden shakeup with your vehicle. It feels like your vehicle's already been kind of on the downhill spiral. And same thing with your body. If you guys have just been noticing you've been slowly like gaining weight or slowly having certain health issues, like you might be realizing like you're kind of slipping. There's a feeling of slipping. What am I getting for that? Like for people who are coming to this, your energy, it feels like slipping. Some of you are fantasizing about an ideal body, and this image of a body in your mind has been growing stronger and stronger and stronger. Let's see what we have here. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, Eight of Wands reversed, slow energy. Ace of Cups reversed is like working on love for yourself, but privately, not letting people know your self-esteem. Hangman in this reading is talking about inner outer world flipping. So it's almost like this vibe of like through this process with Ace of Cups, like, yeah, I'm working on myself privately. I'm not going to let anyone know that I feel it's like the feeling of like, I'm tired of complaining. Like I'm tired of complaining about my car. I'm tired of complaining about my body. I'm tired of like the self-disparaging remarks. Like, and this is not the feel, this is not, I'm not to like shame you guys or anything. Like I'm someone who likes to complain every once in a while. Not a big deal. You know, it feels good, you know, to just be like, I finally get to be a little negative. You know, I've been sustaining this positivity for so long. You know, you get with a close friend, and you're just like, I don't feel good. I feel like crap. Stuff like that. Like that's totally fine. But I feel like you guys have been in a state of like overindulging in that energy. You will know if you have been. Those of you watching, you'll be like, oh yeah, man, I just kind of sick of being, I'm sick of being sick. Like I'm sick of being complaining. I'm sick of being tired of myself. Like, and I think there's this a moment where you're like, I'm going to keep it to myself, you know, you know, I know that's good for the time being, but I know there's a healthy balance after like my life experience. There's a healthy balance of releasing negativity and holding it in, right? But I feel like for you guys right now, you're going like, no, I'm going to work. And it's not about like not venting. It's not about like not letting it out. It's about the fact that you guys want to work on yourself privately and you don't want to show any weakness at this time. At least that's how it's going to play out through this year. Part of this is like, I don't want to show weakness. I don't want to show this part of myself that, and I know a lot of you watching this, you've had the opposite journey. Some of you are watching, I feel like a lot of you are about to click off because you're like, no, I know from my life that I've had to suck it up most of my life and showing weakness is the way to do it. But different people have different journeys. If you look at astrology with the North and South node, for example, I'll use mine for example. I have the South node in Virgo, the North node in Pisces. Virgo is like that overanalyzing, trying to figure everything out, trying to put the pieces together in a system, and it's comfortable, but you don't get anywhere with it. My North node is in Pisces. It's about following the universe, following the path that I see before me, that the universe is laying out before me, trusting in the unknown, not knowing where I'm going and trusting in that. Trusting in spiritual concepts and beliefs and stuff like that. So, but if someone had their South node in Pisces, they start out very connected to the universe. They start out very kind of like in a wooey, dreamlike state, but they need to learn to ground themselves. And with the North node in Virgo, it's almost like, yeah, I need to learn how to put a system together and learn to trust that kind of structure, right? So yeah, basically what I'm seeing here for you is there's this feeling like at this point in your life, I don't want to share my weaknesses with other people. Like, I don't want to tell them that I think I'm either fat or that I really want to be this like really great body. Like, I'm keeping my secrets to myself. I'm not going to tell people that I'm dissatisfied with my vehicle and that I want a new one. I'm just going to kind of keep that to myself. And it does feel like this feeling of working on it privately. With the Hangman here, there's this feeling of reversing some of these things. So for example, you'll notice the more you work on things, I'm shaking the camera, I didn't realize that. Let me try to tighten this a little bit. Yeah, okay. The more you try to like work on these things, right, privately, it reflects in your outer world of like people being more predisposed to you on like a level where they feel like you are more confident or you have something that they don't have, right? It's because you're holding strong in your shadow work within, and you're really doing it on your own, which is super commendable, honestly. And I think that this is just the journey you're going on right now. There might be something with the 12th house, like, what is it? It's something with, and I know these houses like in traditional Hellenistic techniques shouldn't really correlate because one's the 11th and one's the 12th, but you might have like the ruler of the 11th and the 12th, or the 12th ruler in the 11th or something like that. And you might have a kind of a yearly kind of thing, like Jupiter passing through one or the other. I don't know what it would be, but it's this feeling of like the outer reality being reflective of the inner reality and those being kind of correlated. 8 of Wands just talks about prepare for like slow and steady. Once again, I want to reiterate that. 8 of Wands does talk about manifesting miracles for yourself, but waiting for them to happen. So it does mean that I think you guys are doing the work internally. Page of Swords, another card about holding back your thoughts and opinions, not sharing them with others necessarily. When you feel that you have something disparaging about yourself to say, it's like holding back that and not letting it out. Let's see here. It's so interesting because this totally correlated with this. I didn't even like analyze this card before I saw this and I was already like jumping to it. It's so wild how that happens in tarot. Sometimes you can like start talking about some kind of issue or thing in the reading or like some future thing. You can just get a hint about something and then a card comes out just to confirm it. And you're like, well, I guess I don't even need to interpret the card because it's just showing me what I just said. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to bid you guys adieu. I wanted to keep these a little short and sweet. Just because I feel like I want to finish all the piles today. I don't know. I think what happens is my throat gets tired or I get tired or something lately, like doing these. And so I want to just keep them fresh. Pop in. What's that song? I'm in Miami. Okay, sorry. Maybe there's a feeling of like you guys want kind of like a beach glow up or something. I don't know. That's because that song reminds me of. Just remember, slow and steady wins the race. Even if people around you are being more active, more fiery, it feels like they're achieving things faster than you are making progress in a way that is long term. And you are making progress. It's not like you're not making progress. You're going to see, if it's a weight loss program, you're going to see the numbers on the scale drop slowly and surely. But it's like if your friends are losing like 3 pounds a week, you guys are going to be losing like 0.5, 1 pound a week, something like that. And on the flip side too, with this car thing, it might be one of those things too, where it's like you're saving up for your car and you might be thinking like, man, I really want this car right now. All my other friends are getting like modes of transportation or cars and I really want one. But for you guys, I really feel like there's a period of working for it. And I do feel like there's a period of saving and putting money away for it. And at the same time, knowing that for some reason, it's just, you're sick of your current car, but you are just waiting for that sucker to die and it has not died yet. And you're like, well, I'm still going to keep going with this thing. You know, like I'm going to keep riding this thing out until it's on its last legs. That's the kind of vibe that I get. And I think it gives you enough time and more time to save and build your income in order to make that purchase towards the end of this glow up, right? So it's a very hard earned, hard won moment for you guys at the end of this glow up. I really do feel that, I mean, I don't know why I'm saying this. I don't see it necessarily in the cards, but I do feel like with the Ace of Cups here, at the end of this, there's a feeling of really self-love because it's like working on this stuff for yourself internally and not really sharing it. I mean, this is a very like hyper introverted masculine energy that I'm reading for how to approach this goal. We talked about strategies on how to approach this goal. It feels very much like, oh, I'm going to work on this myself. I don't need any help. I'm a man, you know, that kind of vibe, you know, and it's funny enough, I'm hearing a lot of you are women and that are watching this. And this is a method of someone you really emulate. Like I think there's a person in your life that you really emulate who does this kind of behavior. And in this process, you kind of are emulating them to get something that you want. I don't think you're going to stay this way. I don't think you're going to be someone who can't share vulnerabilities. I don't think you're going to get stuck in this mode of behavior. I think this is a tool for you guys to use. You know, it's a way to learn how this perspective and why this perspective works for people, why people live their life in this perspective, why they are operating from this perspective. This might even help you with dating, honestly. One thing that I'm seeing here is a lot of you maybe who are adopting this type of persona, maybe are, you know, learning how a partner that you had operated. And this is kind of a karmic situation where it's like, how come this partner that I had who was such a strong, silent type, didn't need help from anyone, totally invulnerable, how did all these manifestation things work for them? How did they get everything they wanted? Why did they get everything they wanted? How does this method work for them? A lot of you are actors. A lot of you are like, not really actors, but like you're people who put on a role to understand and empathize with what that role is. So a lot of good actors can do this, right? Like that's why I'm associating it with acting. But you can really like learn about a lifestyle or a person and then like take on that role and live in their psychology. You guys probably are like brilliant psychologists just through the pure fact that if you wanted to, you could adopt a person's like psyche, their stance, their performance. You can adopt who they are internally, the methods that they're using with your brain, with their brain and your brain. It's almost like you guys have a malleability with your psychology and personality, but it's a way to understand others. And I think that through this process, you are also manifesting different things like a car and a better body and stuff like that. So it's a lot of you might be admiring people who have really good bodies or have a really nice car. And you might be a specific person in your life and you're manifesting that energy for yourself in order to achieve this at this point in time. For a lot of you, this is just a fun little exercise and you're like, can I do it? You're like, hell yeah, I can. You know, it's kind of that vibe. I feel it's like challenge accepted kind of energy that you guys are feeling right now. Like, yeah, totally challenge accepted. I'll do this way. So, thank you again and that might be where the spirituality point of this reading comes in. But anyway, just want to let you guys know, that you're loved, you're safe, and you're protected. And yeah, I feel like some of you really needed to hear that right now, and I'm getting a little teary-eyed. And it really has nothing to do with the reading, but I'm going to bid you guys adieu. Thank you for watching. Like or comment below if you feel like it. Subscribe if you want more readings, and or you want me to like be on the list and get readings in the subscription area and stuff. With that said, I'll bid you adieu, and thanks for watching. Hello, group 2. Welcome to your reading. So let's get into your glow up and what that glow up will be. So I pulled some cards already. We have Water Monkey, Conquer Your Fear with 9, the number 9 here. We have Aspiration, Mountain Pink, Large Orange Sulfur is the dragon that's listed there. And we have Come to a Calm with Soda Light. So I'm going to roll these rune dice to see what this glow up is going to be about. What's kind of the energies here for that. We have, okay. All right. The language of love, like you know what it means. Wow. Okay. I don't know if anyone's watched Schitt's Creek, but there's a song in there that I think is his name Noah. Noah? Jeff? John? I should know this. I'm watching the show right now. There's a character that sings to David or serenades David. It's David's boyfriend in the show. And one of the lines is he's like, "You speak the language of love like you know what it means." So anyway, that's coming through. That phrase in that song is coming through because we have this rune here, which is, I think it's pronounced ing, something like that. But it represents like the language, or it's the rune of like the runic language, essentially. At least that's how I was taught it in the Elder Futhark. And then we have this one over here, which is like inheritance, which makes me think of family, stuff like that. We also have Hagalos here, which is disaster, hail, and it's like a hardship. It's like something that's difficult or a difficulty in your environment. And then we have Jera here, which is cycles, time period, years, harvesting, stuff like that. I do think that something that you're manifesting right now is you're coming out, or you're going to be gracefully coming into a way of speaking. For a lot of you, this is your voice. It's the way you communicate. It's something you're learning. This is some way to communicate, and you have quite a few glow up things coming in. First of all, I think that there's something in the home environment that there's like an inheritance, possibly an inheritance, that's something that a lot of you could be getting, and that part of your glow up is just receiving this inheritance, but it goes beyond an inheritance. And for a lot of you, it's not an inheritance. It's more in the speech category of gaining this ability or this knowledge, right? But there's a learning of something. There's a secret shared. There's a learning of something, a kind of inherited ability to speak or use a tool of some kind. I do think that this is a family gift, something that's passed down from a relative. So this could be, for example, I'm going to use my line of work, for example. This didn't happen to me necessarily. I'm a first generation tarot reader. But there's a lot of people I know that, their mother or their grandmother read tarot, and they passed on the gift to them, and they taught them how to read the cards, and they have an ancient family deck that's been passed down through generations. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting for you guys. You guys in general might come from a long line of people who are either spiritual or are a representative of a certain craft of some kind. So I think that in this kind of period of time, your glow up is coming from a relative who's trying to pass on something to you before they pass. I know it's a very specific example of something, but for a lot of you, some relative of yours is trying to guide you through this period. Your glow up is going to come from some secret knowledge that is being passed down by a relative. I do see with this Jera symbol, with the cycles of the year, this energy with this relative is not going to be something that's always ever present. It's going to ebb and flow. It's going to go in cycles. So for example, maybe you set up meetings for about like 3, or maybe you go and visit your relative in the country, and it takes about like 3 or 4 days every month. You go and visit this relative, and that's when they start teaching you about this thing, So using my thing for an example, once again, it could be anything. So for example, say your relatives are like mechanics, they're teaching you how to work on cars, and you're finally getting the family knowledge. Or for example, say your family is like librarians or something, they're teaching you about how to organize books. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know that much experience with librarians, but yeah, there's could be a feeling of like, for example, using my as an example, if like say my grandma read tarot or something like that, and I knew I was visiting her every, for 4 days at the end of the month, every month, and she was teaching me these tarot lessons. But then for 3 more weeks after that, I just don't really deal with it or whatever. I practice with it, but it's not really relevant. There's a cycle of seasons coming for you in this glow up. So expect the timing to be in seasons. For some of you, it could even be that for example, if your family is on a farm, I don't know how many of you this would apply to, but for those that it does, I'm just going to say it. If your family is on a farm or something like that, you're learning the ways of the earth. You're learning the ways of the land. You're learning the language of the land. So if one of your relatives or family members or parents or grandparents is really good with plant life, or growing things, knowing how to till the soil and all that good stuff, that could be something you're learning as well. Now, Hagalos is interesting because this is all about disasters. there could have been a disaster that sparked this whole thing. So that could be some kind of disaster that you had where you needed certain knowledge and you didn't have it. And now your family's like, you have to learn the knowledge, you have to learn this. So you are gaining knowledge in this glow up. It's not a traditional glow up in that like, I'm going to be beautiful, or I'm going to like, be spiritually woke, or I'm going to have this new gift. You are getting a gift. It's a gift of knowledge. And I want to say it's a gift of language. You speak the language of love like you know what it means. And that's kind of the vibe. It's like your family's love language in this particular lifetime is about teaching you something of value. And I think that's something that your family member feels is the way they're going to show love to you before they pass. There could be a feeling of someone having some kind of impending thing in the future, or someone just getting older in general, and they really want to pass on that wisdom to you. Let's get into the other cards of what all this could mean. We do have a 9 here, which talks about letting go. And I do see with this water monkey card, this is someone who's very flexible, right? If I think of a monkey in the woods, and I'm just thinking of the archetype of a monkey, right? This is the energy of someone who, I just saw conquer your fear, and my brain was like, talk about that first. So I'll talk about that first. Conquering your fear means like, maybe you guys have a big fear of learning this topic. You have a big fear. It's like, well, maybe I'm not good at this. You know, my family's so strong. I've been living in their shadow for so long. But maybe this is one of those things where it's like, it's time to buckle up and conquer your fear. And I do think with this water monkey, there's an element of flexibility here. You might do things in your own way. You might learn things in your own way. But I do see that there's a need to be flexible with the way that your family is teaching you these things. I also think with the water energy here, water flows. What is that phrase? Where energy goes, energy flows. Just consciously putting effort into putting where this is going. I'm hearing where energy goes, energy flows. I think there's a need to set an intention, or a conscious intention to learn this stuff. And like I said, it happens in cycles. If it's not already happening in cycles, and you already know what this is, and you know you're on the way to working towards this glow up, know that you can pause and take breaks. It's not something you're going to have to grind away at every day. There is a feeling of cycles with this of, yeah, it's only going to be like, and the vibe I was getting is like 4 days out of a month where it's just like really intense focus on something, and then you're back to just regular life, right? And it's so interesting. Some of you, it's funny, going into this, I feel like a begrudging sense of something, but it seems like it stemmed from something being destroyed, and it was unexpected and unwanted, and it feels like a destructive kind of beginning in a way. And it also feels with come to a calm here that your saving grace is keeping calm through this whole process. As long as you keep calm, as long as you take it step by step, I really feel like you could really build something of lasting value. It's so wild because I'm looking at this water, right? Holding up this stone. It's like there's ripples around it, but how is this water, a liquid material, holding up the stones that are getting piled on top of it, right? Another mystery, right? On the top of this stone, there's a butterfly who's carrying a giant pebble. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, how can you lift that with those little baby butterfly wings, right? So you guys are going to have strength that's going to surprise you. People are going to be amazed. You're going to be like, whoa, how did this person learn this skill? I really think this glow up is something that you never thought you would be able to do. It's something that you thought you just didn't have in you. It's something that you thought was a weakness too. So really, it's one of those things where you guys will grow exponentially in a way that other people don't expect. I even am hearing this relative believes in you when no one else did. Everyone else gave up on you in this thing. And they said, oh, they're never going to be like the rest of the family. They're never going to learn how to till the field. And, you know, they don't have a green thumb. Everything they touch dies. I'm using the farming example for you guys. Or maybe they, you know, your family's trying to teach you tarot and they're like, yeah, all their predictions are wrong. They don't know how to use the cards. Like, they're not reading traditionally. I'm hearing traditional stuff all over the place. Like, they don't read traditionally, stuff like that. But this relative of yours is like, no, I believe in them. They just haven't come into their own yet. And I'm going to teach them and I'm going to get them like ship shape. And people are like, it's a lost cause. Like, group 2 is a lost cause. Like, just give up. But this relative fully and firmly believes in you. And I really see this process coming to a full and complete and beautiful end. I see people being really surprised, right? Super surprised at your strength and your growth. On one hand, you're floating above all the issues in this particular situation. That's the first thing that surprises people. I think there's going to be some kind of event, This feels like something coming and not something you actually have to work on trying to do. It just feels like there's going to be some kind of event coming soon. And once you start having this information, you float through this event. And people are like, how did that happen? How did they float through it? It's so interesting. My neighbor just left their house. I actually don't think that's a sign, so I'm just going to keep with the reading. Sometimes I see those things as signs, but she was carrying a bag. I don't know. Sorry. Oh man, I shouldn't have faced it's just, this is the side of like facing my tarot stuff to this window. But anyway, so yeah, you're floating through. You're floating through this tumultuous storm. It's like the next storm passes and it's like, whoa, group 2 was not phased. They were not phased. Like somehow they were prepared for this, something like that. For some reason, I'm getting for a lot of you, there could be a thing here about being prepared for things. It's your relative is someone who is helping you be prepared, thinking of things in advance, planning things, organizing things. And remember, it feels like a language. So it could be something like tarot where you're learning a language for something. For some of you, you could even be learning a language that your family knows, like an ancient language. Or for example, if your family's multicultural and maybe you grew up only speaking English or only a certain language, maybe you have a relative that's really fluent in these other languages. Usually it's the younger generation that I've experienced, especially in America and California. The younger generation is usually the one that's bilingual and they have to help the parents, but I'm seeing something about the parents having a language that they need to teach the child, something maybe a cultural thing as well. But yeah, with water monkey here, it's super interesting. So funny, this monkey's like looming in the background and I see you're the one fighting with this white suit here. And it's interesting, the monkey's in the background. I'm almost seeing the monkey as like your relative. Like they're a representative of your relative. Your relative might have kind of a little bit of a crafty side to them, a playful side to them, something like that. And you guys, I don't know. There's something strong about you guys. I do want to come to this card again. I feel like I need to pull tarot cards before I come to this card. But I really do love this card. I'm seeing the stars on the rocks, and I'm hearing star-studded path. I'm hearing this could bring you some kind of fame or recognition. I hear you're going to be really good at this, whatever this is. It's left field. I mean, we just had, at the time of this reading, Uranus just entered Gemini. And from my experience, when Uranus hits a placement where there's going to be a really big bang, doesn't happen every time Uranus enters a sign, but for the people where it does happen, it's a big kind of like, whoa, strong strength coming. Star-studded path. Star-studded path just means like either, there's a few things with this language thing. It's either you're going to be working with celebrities or you're going to be a celebrity or you're walking the path to fame. You're going to start to notice as you keep walking this path, different famous energies are going to be around you. You're going to be like, whoa, I just said hi to this person down the street. And why were they here by my house? But they're like famous, or like you're going to be starting to like message people on social media that are famous and they're going to be responding back and just having casual conversation with you, right? Because this is this language that you're learning. You're learning this language and you're developing a skill and a talent, and people are respecting that. People are respecting you because of that. Now it's interesting. I feel bad, and it's not your family's fault or people in your life. If people were telling you we're not good at this, it's not necessarily their fault. They are a part of your story though. So in a way, they were orchestrated to be like that, because if they weren't like that, you wouldn't have had such a big breakthrough, right? You and this relative that actually has faith in you and they're teaching you this thing, that was a connection that was meant to happen and is meant to happen at this time. For a lot of you, you need to know that this is a part of your destiny. For a lot of you at this current point, you don't believe it's a part of your destiny. This relative probably just reached out or just started talking to you about learning this particular thing. And you're thinking like, how am I going to learn this? How am I going to learn this language? But you are going to be a master at it. 9 is also talking about completions. I do see this water monkey as a future evolved form of you. It's like the monkey, your relative's in the background, and this person has their 2 fingers behind them going, shh, stay back there, I've got this, right? And it's almost like you're taking control of this warrior position, holding the strength for this language that you've learned. With 9, it does represent completion. I don't think there's going to be any doubt in anyone's mind that you are not a master at what you're doing by the end of this. Now, aspiration also can come out here, where it looks like this is the aspiration of this family member and also a little bit of yourself. Even though you might not believe you can do it, and people don't believe you can do it, this is an aspiration that maybe you also have. You just thought like, oh, I'm just going to give up on it because it doesn't seem like I'm just the black sheep. I didn't get this skill. but it does feel like a little bit of a thing where maybe you did want this skill and you were just shut down by people saying that you couldn't do it. So with the aspiration here, I think it's going to be like an emergence, right? We also have mountain pink. Pink could be a soothing color for you at this time, wearing pink, looking at pink objects. I have my spherical pink rose quartz here on the left side of the table. Looking at pink in general could be something that's soothing. If you're even watching this video and you're noticing this crystal and you're like, that one's pretty, it might be one of those things where pink is something you're drawn to at this time. We also have large orange sulfur. I'm hearing, that's so weird. It's so weird. Okay, just say the message. Okay, so there's smelling sulfur could be a sign of like, first of all, wealth, that money's gonna come and help you support this. But smelling sulfur, obviously if you smell sulfur in your house and it's like a sign that there's like something burning or whatever, or like it's like a negative sign, like go get it fixed, like call someone to, but if you're just like out walking around or you're like in a public place and you smell a kind of sulfur kind of, from my understanding, sulfur kind of smells like rotten eggs or like burnt eggs. That's kind of how I imagine it. But if you're smelling like a kind of rank kind of smell, I'm hearing that's a sign that your mind is like learning something, and just bad smells in general. I know this is so counter to how like you would imagine if you're walking around like smelling a good smell is like a positive sign, stuff like that. I'm hearing processing. What is it? Okay, hold on. The message is on the tip of my tongue. Processing negativity for clarity, breakthrough. Sulfur's like the wait before the breakthrough. It's like that's where the processing of the negativity is happening, that's like going to get weighed down, and then there's going to be an epiphany outward. The air just turned off for confirmation on that one. So when you do smell a bad smell, just realize it's a sense of feeling weighted for a second, and you're about to have a very beautiful epiphany thought, awakened thought, an enlightened thought. That's what I was trying to say. So for example, you might be walking down the street and maybe you smell tar, or maybe you smell like sewage or something like that. And you're like, whoa, this is really like bothering me. And maybe you feel a little dizzy or something like that, whatever the case may be, but you walk a little bit further and then the smell lifts. As soon as the smell lifts, I think you're going to have some kind of epiphany. Your intelligence is linked to smell. And it's so funny because I always associate smells with families in general. They talk about smell being associated with memories, and a lot of people, when they do associate smells, it's from stuff with their family. So it's not just like, if a smell is associated with a memory, usually it's with like a grandpa or a grandma or something like that. So these negative smells, it's almost like it's gravity pulling you down before it's going to buoy you up. Like we have those water metaphors here too. So think about that. It's like this feeling of, sorry, I feel like, am I talking and the camera's shaking? I can't tell if the camera's shaking. Hopefully it's not a shaky video. Whatever. We'll learn. We'll learn and do it different next time. So there's this feeling here of like with the water, like being pushed down and then buoying back up. And then once you hit the surface, it's like, that's the epiphany. So I feel like this is going to be a big part of your learning, at least the major points in your learning for this language. Let's see here. See if there's any other messages here. I'm noticing the clouds in the background and the butterfly carrying the super heavy stone. People might think this is just a burden that you shouldn't carry because you're too delicate, honestly. And I see that as a grave, I want to say grave mistake, but it's not what is coming through what I wanted to say. Grave misunderstanding, grave misalignment, grave misjudgment, grave. What is that word? The word is eluding me. It basically just means that people underestimate you. It's like people don't think you can do it, but really you can, that kind of vibe. I saw this squirrel kind of running around outside as I was trying to find my thought, and he was kind of frantic and he's just kind of moving around. And squirrels in general remind me of kind of a little bit of a frantic energy. And I kind of noticed my thoughts were like slowing down. And it comes back to this come to the calm energy here of this card and what the card's words mean. I think when you're around a calm environment or when you're around this relative, there's a feeling of like needing to study all this in a really calm place. Like we talked about in the beginning of the reading that we were going to cover strategies to help this globe. And I've been saying a lot of things that are just going to happen, but some of the strategies you can do to learn this language even better. being in a calm state of mind, being in a totally tranquil, calm state of mind. Also being flexible in your learning, being flexible with different methods and techniques, learning to say no to yourself and what your preconceptions are about something that's going on. It's like about learning the way first and then developing your own perspective on how to do it later. So it's very much, with the monkey, it's like tinkering too. It's like this tinkering vibe that I get here as well. Playing with concepts over in your mind, seeing what's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you. But yeah, with aspiration here, it does feel like there's something bigger on the horizon. And then once you learn this skill, it feels like this opens doors. It leads you somewhere. It opens doors for you. It becomes some other tool that you need for something else, that you never thought you really could do in your life because you didn't have this language to learn, So, yeah, I know this reading's really specific, but for those of you who are still with me, I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Let's get the tarot cards out on the table and I'll wrap up the reading. Okay. Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Swords. Oh no, people. Ten of Wands. Sorry, when I get a lot of court cards, I'm like, there's a lot of people who have opinions. It's like, okay, everyone has something to say, and sometimes that's not always good, but it just is giving this whole tarot card part is just bringing up that portion of the reading where it was like the people saying things to you that are like negative and stuff. With the Ten of Wands, it feels like so many different types of people are saying things to you, and different types of energies are, how do I put this? Because so many different types of people are saying the same thing, you guys are so in the pits of what you just think you can't do it. You just think it's impossible. There's a feeling of, no, I can't do it. Too many people are saying no, and with the Ten of Wands here, there is this illumination that comes later where after you've battled through these different opinions that these different people have, you're like, okay, I see clearly, like I can do this. But the Wands talks about burden traditionally, and the court cards are people. And so this is the burden of people's opinions, especially because we have two swords cards here. That's all vocal stuff. That's all communication. Knight of Swords is a person who, I don't know why I'm being called, maybe this just validates for you guys for some reason. This is going to validate you. But Knight of Swords is a person that, sorry, this part of the reading, I'm wondering why it's going to help. But I'm just going to go ahead and read this part of the reading because I'm being called to do it. So Knight of Swords is a person who, the way they communicate with you and tell you no about how you cannot do this thing is by taking the opposite opinion. It's like you say, well, maybe I can do this. They'll say, no, of course you can't because you can't do this. And so it's someone who's always saying the opposite. That's one of the persons who could be a little more invalidating to what's going on with you. With the Queen of Swords, there's another person that's invalidating in a different way where they're saying like, look, like other people who do this are like this, and kind of subtly brushing you off as someone that's outside the main flow of events. Then last, we have the Knight of Pentacles person who is just, I see them as an example that's intimidating for you guys. This just means they're not necessarily saying you can't do it. They're not necessarily saying you can do it. This is just someone in your life that is just really successful, really slow and steady type, really pillar of strength for your family. This is a peer. This is either a sibling or this is someone who, this is getting very much vibes of like perfect sister, perfect brother who like does everything perfectly, right? This is the vibe of like, okay, this person's just so intimidating that, and they're so good at what they do, or even the language, if they've learned this language themselves that you're about to learn, this could be a feeling of like just pure intimidation by the pure fact that they're really good at it. And it just feels like, oh, that's their thing. That's not my thing. That's their thing. I'm the sibling that, for example, with athleticism, right? Maybe you have a sibling who's extremely athletic and the language you're learning is how to exercise or fitness or calisthenics or something like that, or learning a specific sport. Maybe you're learning how to play a certain sport and your relative wants to tell you how to play that. But this person is just so good at that. You're just like, oh, no, my brother's the football. Okay, you know how I know the universe is on my side for this reading? We were just reaching the end of your reading. My phone cut off and so basically the storage was full because I procrastinate and I don't delete things. And, catch media and all that stuff. But I had one last message to say and I said it and I looked back at where the video cut off and it was right at the very end of the reading. which is super interesting. Yeah. Sorry, excuse me, that was a little burp. Basically, like, with 10 of Wands here, there's going to be a burden lifted from this situation. I think these family and these family members and their expectations are going to kind of fall by the wayside. You know, there's an epiphany here with this burden where it's like, wow, I think a lot of people are going to see clearly that you can do it. And a lot of people are going to kind of have this feeling of like, whoa, I was wrong, you know? The Queen of Swords energy person gives me a sense of a little bit of passive aggressiveness. And the person with the Knight of Pentacles energy gives me this sense of just like, you know, like, I feel it's almost like they weren't concerned that you could or couldn't do it. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, you're just like me. There's a feeling of like, oh yeah, I always knew you were like me kind of vibe, something like that on their end. This Knight of Swords energy, they're going to eat their words. That's for sure. And this Queen of Swords person, you know, might kind of subtly, you know, whatever, just kind of, I don't know, like some people are just incorrect of this assessment of you. I'm sorry. In this situation, that's just how I see them. You guys got this. You totally got this. Remember, keep calm when you're learning things. Give yourself the time and the space and the solitude and the quietude that you need to understand and respond and figure this stuff out. Remember, you do have that relative that is in your corner and is at the point where they're like, I don't think they're passing. For some of you, they're passing away, and it's about like, I need to teach this before I need to leave this earth. For others of you, this is someone who's just like, one day I will be gone, but you need to learn this, you know, that kind of vibe. The good news is that this one person believing in you, I feel like that's all you guys need. It's just like, you know, maybe it doesn't feel like that. Maybe you feel like you need more. Maybe you feel like you still can't do it, whatever the case may be. But right now, I think there's a feeling of necessity with that Haggalah symbol, that disaster that happened, where it's like, wow, I really do need to learn this skill. And there's a feeling of despair watching this, I think, where you guys don't think you can learn it. If you're in the early stages of this, for those of you who are in the later stages of this, you've come to this reading and this reading feels very similar to how things have already played out. You probably already have a little bit of the confidence. You probably already know you're on that journey. And this is just kind of a little bit of a confirmation that your glow up journey currently is going to complete itself beautifully. You will have skill in this. You will be very highly respected in this. Remember, we have that star-studded path. I think a lot of you will get a little bit of fame from this thing that your family's passing on to you. Anyway, I'm going to end the reading there. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Thank you for clicking on my channel. And if you're a longtime viewer, thank you so much for the support, especially if you're a longtime viewer. You guys are like my bread and butter right now. Like, you're my rock. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to this, the fact that you are sticking with me through my very low motivated periods, I really do appreciate that. Your patience is very highly appreciated, right? I'm glad I actually have, you know, this is the part in my YouTube journey where I know I have loyal followers, and so I'm just really happy I have those as well, you know, because my channel's had a little slow growth lately, which is normal. It's fine. It happens. But yeah, just very thankful for the people who've stuck with me since the beginning and the people who stick with me now. So anyway, catch you guys later. Like or comment if you want to, subscribe if you want more readings, and I'll see you guys in the next reading. Bye. Hello, ladies and gentlemen who chose group 3. If you chose this Chrysoprase, this dark green stone with that little brown splotching because of the matrix that it's in, this will be your reading. So first we have a few things. I'm going to roll the astro dice to see what the reading is about and what is the kind of glow up that is going to happen. And yeah, a little more details about it, and then we'll get into your reading. So we have Bergano, Rido, Alpha, and Isa. Okay. So is this okay. Well, that's like not the same. There we go. All right. Let me see here what we got. Ooh, water. I'm being called to drink water. Give me 1 second. I'll let you guys look over these cards for a second. Okay. There is a birth of something. This is something brand new. let's see, what's coming through? Brand new, we have a journey, the brand new beginnings of a journey. We also have the inheritance card here, the inheritance dice here, which the previous group had as well. And we have the ISA symbol. Let me get into the ISA symbol first so I can explain how I view this symbol. I also have a very similar symbol in my own personal deck that I made of symbols that I'm not using in today's video, but there's a card there called Ice, and I associate with this one too. It's about, ice is a form, a solid form, right? But it's stronger when it's water. All ice is stronger when it's water. At least that's how I see this in my version of this metaphor. So for example, you take a rock, a stone, and a piece of ice. Ice can shatter as soon as you like hit it with a hammer, but a rock, it's gonna be more difficult to shatter. It's just a thicker substance. It's earthy, it's not watery, right? Ice to me represents a stoic facade, a feeling of being strong or being the strong one, and literally needing to melt yourself down in order to make things happen in your life. It means letting yourself be vulnerable, melting your defenses, melting, how do I put it? You can't hammer water. You literally just, if you were just like just water, not even a jar or whatever, it just, if you try to hammer water, you're doing nothing to water. But if you hammer ice, you can crack it wide open, it can hurt, it can separate, it can fall into pieces. But water is whole in and of itself. It just needs to melt a little bit, right? So that's kind of the vibe here as far as like part of what this is kind of manifesting for you guys. Part of this is an ability to be fluid and go with the flow versus being stoic and impenetrable. Because I see that the more stoic you guys have been in your life, the more difficulties you face, the more things have shattered, you know? You guys might feel like this Howlite card, like a teacup, right? And I'm gonna get into what the glow up actually is in a little bit and how we can work through it and stuff like that, because it's coming through in a little bit of a different way than the other groups, especially with abundance appearing here. It does feel like this is very, very money related or some kind of path to the beginnings of a new way of making money or of earning money. For a lot of you, this could also be a financial inheritance as well. So, but with this teacup, you guys have felt very much like fragile, like you could just easily break, like you're a piece of china, something like that. And with ice, and also with this honey flowing over everything. I mean, there's a stone of howlite with like trees in the teacup. I mean, I don't even know what that is, but the melting, the flowing of all the liquid, the brown liquid through the teacup and the tea, like it's like this feeling of dousing or heated steam or something over ice, and then the ice melting away. What is that? Faded gravity, melting away. There's a Boris Brejcha song, I think it's called Gravity. This is an EDM song, so there's not really too many lyrics in it. They just literally say faded gravity, melting away. And the way I would see that symbolically is there's this feeling of the lighter things get for you, the more you can melt. So that just means that like there's a feeling of needing like laughter and humor and levity in your life. This can even be like part of your glow up could include like losing weight or wearing clothes that are more breathable. You know, however you can feel that wind through your body, or just feeling a sense of lightness in your sense of self, the more this stoic facade will fade away, will melt. I really feel for a lot of you coming up in this period with this. I wanted to cover ice first because there's so many metaphors I get with this, and I just want to get them all out of the way. But feeling with this new sense of abundance or money that's coming in, and we're going to get to that part in a second. Wearing free-flowing clothes. This is one of the steps you could take to achieving this next glow up, right? Or part of this glow up. I think after this glow up is over, you will have like a more flowy vibe to you. Flowy clothing. Nothing will be like tight or constricting or formal. It feels like flowy bohemian type of energy, like soft fabrics, bright colors. Like it feels like my group here is this type of person who is going to be kind of like, what's it called? You know, like what is that? I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of something clever, honestly. I'm trying to think of something clever to say because I think there's something clever in there of what I'm saying. But basically it's like looking kind of like less rich on the outside, but packing like a wallet full of hundos. You know what I'm saying? Like this is someone who is not wearing like, they don't have like gold chains around their neck, but this is someone who's wearing, like a leather satchel that they handmade themselves, but then really like in their wallet, they're like, yeah, I'm carrying like $1,000 on me today. That kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? So there's a feeling here of like abundance, and so much abundance that you can provide for others, but your external form is very like bohemian, very hippie, very, free flowing. Like the outfit is free is the best way I can describe it. So it's like wearing stuff that is not too confining, This could either be gym clothes, gym attire, because sometimes wearing gym clothes can be very freeing because it's like loose, comfortable, you can work out in it. Or it could just be in general, like clothes that make you feel loose and comfortable, like always wearing shorts so there's nothing constraining your legs, or something about wearing like loose fitting tops so there's a feeling that the breeze can flow through them on a windy day, or something about like, maybe a lot of you have been in this state with the ice card for as far as your glow up goes, is wearing really tight, restrictive kind of things. Like maybe you're really used to wearing your hair in a very tight bun, right? Where your hair is pulled back and taut over your skull and you have this tight bun in the back. And maybe you learn through this process that maybe like loosening your hair down and letting your hair fall down and stuff actually makes it clearer and easier for you to think. For some of you, you might even shave all your hair off. That might not be like the best decision for all of you. And just keep that in mind that, you got to live with what you choose in your style and stuff. And that goes for anything in your style. But for some of you, you're like, I don't care. Like I'm hacking this stuff off. Like I want this off. Like I want to be free. And some of you might realize you think better in that state or something along those lines. Whatever the case may be, adopting a more free flowing approach helps you let down those emotional guards and that feeling that you need to be the strong one. But that at the same time, the more I feel like you guys in your life have learned that the more you present a strong appearance, and whether you figured this out yet or not, you're going to figure it out soon. The more you're presenting as a very strong appearance, the more your body like cracks under the pressure. Now, I want to be clear. This is a similar metaphor that group 1 had, but it's a very opposite direction that group 1 had. And I do talk about the nodes in that group and how one person's thing that they need to leave behind and grow into is what another person's strength that they need to grow into from something they need to leave behind. So keep that in mind. If you ever go back to pile 1 or you're picking pile 1 or pile 2, there are two opposite approaches. Does that make sense? It's on the same path, but one person's going in one direction, the other person's going in the other direction. So keep that in mind. If you were drawn to both pile 1 and pile 3, you could learn something from pile 1. If maybe you thought 3 is definitely my pile, but pile 1's kind of calling me. Maybe it would be good to watch pile 1 just to get the opposite perspective and see what someone in the opposite position, how they're learning to manifest things could benefit them. Maybe even you're watching this with a friend and you're pile 3 and they're pile 1, who knows? Because I do see there's this feeling that you guys for a long time have been very, very stoic, very, very strong and sturdy, but every time that happens, there's a feeling of cracking under the pressure. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to be the strong one, and then crack in the teacup, water flows everywhere. The thing is, it's like you guys are water, and I think you've forgotten that. Like your element is water, your element is flow, your element is going with the flow, your element is not being rigid or not stuck or anything like that. You are a flow, you are in a state of flow, or you should be. You guys have forgotten that. It's so funny I said should, and I hate saying should statements, but my air just turned off on me for confirmation that maybe you guys really respond well to should statements. Maybe you need those readers out there who tell you how you should be, and maybe that actually helps you adopt that persona. But really, what that air turning off confirmation is just letting you know that that's the confirmation that is your state, flowy, adaptable, free. I feel like for so long, maybe you guys have tried to put on a performance, or maybe you've tried to wear suits all the time or something, and it just doesn't feel comfortable. Or on the flip side, maybe you've tried to wear casual clothes and you feel more comfortable in a suit. Whatever the case may be, it's about feeling comfortable in your own body, feeling comfortable with what you're wearing, all this stuff. Feeling comfy in how you look and your appearance, for you guys especially, your appearance matters is what I'm hearing. So keep that in mind, that there is a feeling here. Also, it's right by get curious, which is interesting because we have this fire component too, right? You're being asked to get curious about fashion and clothing as well. Now, remember, that's not the whole part of this reading. And I know I'm taking a huge point of time to talk about this in the beginning. It's not the whole picture. Gonna tell you that right now. It's not the whole picture. The whole picture is this journey that is being birthed to abundance. Now, abundance can be in many ways, shapes, and forms, but this is really a mindset that you're having, right? A lot of you are going to get an inheritance. You're on your journey to get an inheritance, whether that's through inheritance doesn't necessarily have to be from family, right? It could be that you are working for a company and the company, you inherit the company, or you are working for someone doing something else and you inherit something from them. This can also be objects. Speaking of fashion and stuff, you're on a journey to inherit objects from like relatives or friends or something like that. So you're on a journey to inherit a whole wardrobe of clothing, if that's the case. And because we're speaking about fashion, I'm being told, get curious about stuff you want. Get curious about the ideas that you can create with fashion, because I'm seeing a lot of you getting your curiosity about the things you want to be abundant in, the things you really want to have. Your curiosity is the thing that's going to guide you to the correct patterns and choices for achieving the wealth that you want. Now we have abundance here with chrysanthemum and popinjay. Chrysanthemum is so interesting, and I think this is the reason it came out, because I actually have a chrysanthemum stone, and it's so interesting because I was doing, I'm like telling myself, like, remember Cody, when you, okay, so when I was going through like I was writing crystals down, I do all this kind of system stuff outside of tarot where I try to I think this is like my Virgo South Node, where I'm trying to analyze and figure out what different things are and stuff. But then Pisces jumps in and is like, no, this is the thing, and it's coming in a divine way, and you can't orchestrate or organize this. So with chrysanthemum, I was writing down different stones and their abilities and stuff like that. And I was like, which stone is the best stone? I had tarot cards out to make sure each stone was doing this and that and stuff. But I typed out chrysanthemum in like big capital letters when I typed it out for like a section under abundance. But it was totally on accident. I just accidentally hit the caps lock key and typed chrysanthemum in like a huge caps lock letters. So I started wearing the chrysanthemum stone, right? And it actually brought me so much abundance. I went to this taco shack in my hometown, right, where it's like they serve tacos and Mexican food and stuff like that. And the lady there, I talked to her about crystals all the time, but like she actually, like that day, she was like, I brought you something. And I was like, what? She's like, I brought you my crystal book. I'm done using it. You know, I've read it. I know the information, but do you want this? And she gave me this really cool book about crystals and all these different things about crystals, one that I've never seen or that's been talked about too much. And even though I already have crystal books, it's just so cool to like get a book from someone about something you're interested in. And so for me, this chrysanthemum represents abundance. It represents, and it's funny, they use it in this deck. That's so interesting. It represents this whole idea of, oh wow, and it looks like the stone that was at my friend's house too. Wow. Someone prayed for you. Someone prayed for you to be rich. I don't think they're telling you, but someone prayed for you that they want, you might even know, like a friend or something, but someone who's really powerful with manifestations wants you to be wealthy. They're praying behind your back and they want you to have so much wealth. That is one thing that's coming for you in a glow up. It's not so much about strategies to get there. It can be, and one of the strategies is choosing your clothes and choosing appropriate clothing that makes you feel comfortable. But someone is prayed for you. Someone prayed for you, manifested for you, whatever the method that this person used, they know it's effective. They did it for you. You are about to come into so much money and wealth. And this is going to start a whole new journey for you. This is a birth energy. And with inheritance here, it's going to be some kind of big influx of income. And it's going to start this journey for you where you are going to embark on a trip or something like that. For some of you, you're traveling. And you'll be going to different countries, different locations, and exploring things through your job, your work opportunities. And part of the abundance is like your job being like, okay, we're going to give you these travel opportunities. You're going to get to travel abroad. You're going to go here and here and here. You're going to return back and report to us. And then you get to go off and do more traveling abroad and stuff like that. For some of you, I'm hearing talent scouts. Your company thinks you have an eye for good talent and they want you to be a talent scout, something like that. For others of you, you're traveling artists, something about you gonna get a big boost in something what you're making or creating, some art project. I'm hearing for the ones that are artists, you already received this income. You already received a big boost of income for some art installation or art project. For some of you, you're art directors. For others of you, you're just the person working on the project, but you're moving with your team to a different country, and it's creating this journey. For others of you, bouncing off that art journey, there's a feeling of going on a journey, finding your artistic voice. Similar to how you're changing your clothing style, you're finding your own artistic voice, and you have the ability to do that because this money is supporting you. This big income that came is supporting you. So abundance is just this feeling of getting jump-started, right? And I think this journey to abundance is going to keep snowballing again and again and again. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We have Earth Rabbit here, right? So rabbits in general, when I'm driving and I see a rabbit cross the road, it's a signal for me to slow down. A lot of people see rabbits as very speedy or spastic or whatever, like kind of how similar how I see squirrels. But when I see a rabbit, I feel the need to slow down. It's just because at this one point in my life, there's a certain road I have at my hometown, and I would drive and there'd be rabbits and I'd just slow down, right? It's so funny because I'm saying a lot about hometown. I keep using the words hometown, and I don't know why I'm saying that. I live in my hometown right now, but I'm saying it as if I'm far away, referring back to my hometown. So there's something where you lived or once lived that's important. Symbols, signs, synchronicities. Going back home, visiting family, you're going to be experiencing a lot of signs and synchronicities about this upcoming journey coming up for you. For those of you who are watching this, these are timeless. If those of you who are watching this right now have an upcoming trip planned with family, or have an upcoming trip where you're going home for the holidays or something along those lines, or you're going to be visiting family very soon, there's a feeling of going home, slowing down, and that slowing down factor is going to bring in epiphanies and bring in abundance to you. It says in harmony with the season. So yeah, I'm seeing like a seasonal trip, maybe every August or something, you do something with your family, or maybe every like March, in springtime, you go stay at a cabin or whatever. Like whatever the case may be that's applying to your locality and where you live, there's a feeling of going somewhere for a particular season of the year and doing something. For a lot of you, it's religious. I'm hearing like you're going to a mosque or you're going to a church or something like that. You're going somewhere where there's like a spiritual retreat, and that's what's kicking this whole thing off. But yeah, you're in harmony with the seasons here. And with Earth Rabbit, I think that's how your abundance comes in, seasonally. I really do think it's seasonally. I do think it's really relative to like summer, winter, fall, spring, that kind of energy. I'm looking at the numbers up here, 1 and 6. One thing that I'm noticing about 1 and 6 here, 6 does represent family energy. In a lot of numerology systems, 6 is associated with family. In a lot of systems, it's also associated with jealousy. And 1 is usually associated with the individual, and 6 plus 1 is associated with 7 with like solitude. The way I'm seeing this is, it feels like some family members are jealous of your sense of being alone or your sense of independence during this period. And I feel like this is coming up. So this is just something to really not worry too much about, because it's just something that's kind of like a little side effect is what I'm seeing. I'm also seeing this rabbit on this path. There's this path in the back with all these colored rocks, like they're crystals, and there's crystals in this card, and there's a pink energy here. There's a lot of pink throughout the themes in all of today's readings. And the air just turned on for confirmation as well. I think for a lot of you with your glow-ups, there's an element of pink that's important. And for everyone, every group that was watching today, something about pink is important. I'm not really seeing what it is in this group so much. Like for you guys, for as far as colors go, power colors, I think dark oranges with the getting curious with carnelian and the abundance is really going to be powerful. I do think with Get Curious, this orange color, also working with carnelian and howlite. I think this is the first, I think the other groups had crystals too, but this is the first group where I feel called with the howlite and carnelian to talk about the crystals themselves. Howlite, when I work with it, I use it when I travel. And I've done channelings with crystals to kind of see what their energy is for me. And howlite shows up as like a traveler's lantern. Like it's a traveler's lantern. It's something you can wear while traveling. It's something that can bring people to you that are traveling to you. I see it, I call it like the traveler's lantern. Carnelian's interesting because that's my comfort stone. Like, especially if it's a piece that's charged up, or it's a new piece of carnelian I have, or something I recently made, or jewelry I made, or something like that. I always feel super comfortable wearing carnelian. A lot of people feel it's like a motivating thing. It's passion, it's creativity, all that stuff. I can literally just sit on the couch and just like vibe out when I have a piece of carnelian. It just makes me feel so soothed. But basically what I'm seeing with this whole 16 number, there's a feeling of needing to withdraw or having been the type of person that needed to withdraw, and people feeling like you're more isolated or something like that. That, I don't think this is anything where like you're not, what's it called? Like group 2 had this thing where they had like a deficiency in something, and that's what they were kind of like the black sheep because they didn't have a specific skill. But you guys, on the other hand, are like well received by everyone. They're just like, why do I have to spend so much time alone? It's like, we want them around. Like, we want group 3 around. Why are they spending so much time alone? That kind of thing. So I do think there's a very colorful environment around you, and people do really love you. You guys are my group that like, everyone loves you. Everyone wants the best for you, and everyone wants you to have everything in the world. You guys are definitely like blessed in that regard, right? People look out for you. You live and grew up in a very safe, kind of happy place. But you're about to go on a journey, right? And you're going on a journey to accumulate abundance. And even if we feel like we live in a happy place, or everyone's like, wow, your family's so perfect, or I love the way you were raised, or whatever the case may be, we can still feel a lack mindset even in those areas because of other things going on, Just because other people perceive us as having things, we might not feel like we have things. So this is a journey to have. This is a journey to receive. This is a journey to acknowledge. We have Pop and J here, which is so interesting. And I'm seeing this is the name of the dragon on this deck, right? It's I don't know if the dragons are real on this deck, but I think she just made up the names of these dragons. But I feel like I need to tell you guys this deck. Carla Morrow Enchanted Blossoms Oracle deck. So Pop and J is literally reminding me, first of all, I have a lot of friends that are DJs that have J's in their name. Just really popular, like a lot of different DJ names in my personal life, that like local DJs that I hang out with. But Pop and J makes me think of like pop, lock and drop it. Pop, lock and drop it. And I'm getting a vibe of like dancing and music and fun and kind of like really celebrations coming in. And I think that's going to be a really big place or environment or thing that's important while you're receiving this abundance. I'm not really sure how necessarily, but I do also music. Sorry, this is where the message is going right now. Music is really important with this journey, right? So especially if you're traveling, like if you're traveling to another country, if you're traveling to a place, if you're making art. I remember for some of you, you're making art and you're learning this art, your artistic voice. Music is going to walk with you side by side. That's what I'm seeing. So for a lot of you, a big part of your journey is making sure your playlists are curated, making sure you download the right music, making sure you have selected music for different moods, different environments, whatever the case may be. Keep your music in order. People often think like, oh yeah, I have to make sure my house is clean, or I have to make sure my, my taxes are in order, or I'm like taking care of my finances or something like that. You guys, it's really important to stay on top of your music. If you keep hitting shuffle and that song comes on that keeps irritating the hell out of you, get rid of it. You don't have to delete it fully, but make sure it's not on the playlist you're listening to. Music is important. I would highly recommend investing in a music company that, not music company, what am I trying to say? Like, you know how they have for me, I have like Apple Music and there's like other musics. Recently I got into SoundCloud. So different music platforms, make sure you're really investing and you have the ability to get the songs you need. Researching music, going on YouTube. YouTube is a great place to find new music and totally underrated, I think. There's a lot of pages and things where you can find all this different type of music. A lot of like underground artists too. Like have stuff on YouTube. There's lives where people play music live. I know I watched a few lives where people are DJing music and stuff like that. Doesn't have to be EDM like I'm talking about. It can be anything. It can be live music. Whatever music speaks to you and that it resonates with you, you are the type of group that is going to have music walking with you side by side, hand in hand through your entire journey. So just like you would clean up your house, just like you would clean up your computer or your emails, make sure you're cleaning up your music. What kind of music do you appreciate? What kind of music do you like? Make sure you set aside some time for looking for new music. Make sure you set aside some time for deleting certain songs, because it's going to revitalize your energy and bring in more abundance and make it lighter on your feet. It really feels like this is part of that journey. Now, rabbit energy here with the earth energy means this is long term. energy. This means that for the rest of your life, this abundance you're carrying, you're gonna keep it for the rest of your life. But with rabbit energy here, it comes in leaps. It comes in spots and leaps. It means at a little point it'll leap forward, and then another point it'll be stagnant. If you think of the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? The rabbit takes big leaps forward, and yeah, he doesn't finish it as quick as the tortoise, but he still finishes the race. And there's this feeling of like jumping periodically and having little leaps of income bursts, but then being stagnant for a while, leap of income burst, being stagnant for a while, stuff like that. And I want to get back to this metaphor of turning the fragility into fluidity. With that ice symbol, right? This one's, I don't know why it's coming. It's just, I got to talk about it. It's just coming to me. I got to talk about it. Remember that stoicism is your enemy. Strength, invulnerability. I don't want to say protection. Obviously, you have to protect yourself from negative influences. That's not what I'm talking about. But stoicism, pretending you're stronger than you are, being the strong one for others, trying to be a pillar of strength when you're literally an ice cube. Like that roof is going to cave in. You know, you are not the stone structure that is going to provide the shelter for someone else. You might think you are. You might think you can do that because water does freeze and it does feel very solid and like, oh yeah, I'm a solid form. I can be structured. I can provide support. But you are water. You flow. You know, it's almost like the vibe I'm getting. I just want to say liquid gold. Sorry, I have no reason to say it. It's just coming to my mind. Liquid gold. Liquid abundance, even like there's a feeling of like keeping certain things flowy or liquid or something like that. I'm even being told like, what I'm getting the image of what's it called? Hourglass, but it's filled with liquid, or like a jewelry piece of lava lamp or something where it's like images of stuff like that, like liquid images, things that are flowy, rivers, ocean waves, stuff that's like water in its form of like flow versus its form of like frozenness. No, it's so interesting because I do think, sorry, I kind of went on a little rant there, guys. Apologize. I just got into like dreamy land. Where it says you are the foundation, right? This is a feeling of like, okay, when am I the best foundation for others? Not when I'm like trying to be strong for them, right? But when I show moments of weakness, when I flow and adapt to their foundation, you can support people in the best way. You know, how does water support their environment versus how does ice support their environment, right? If you think of Eskimos building an igloo, they're using ice in these big formations to form a shelter, right? And yeah, those shelters work, but if you're trying to like take ice and like build something out of ice cubes and you're in the hot summer day, it's gonna melt. How does water support things? How does this liquid pouring on this howlite right here support these branches and trees growing? Through nourishing, right? Nourishment. My air turned off right when that howlite came up. Howlite's important for you guys. I would work with it. It's relatively inexpensive. You can find it in a lot of places. You should be fine acquiring it. But yeah, just if you can find it, howlite would be good to work with. But ultimately, trees, plant life, animal life, all thrives around water. What is the foundation for abundance? Water, rivers, lakes. Things drink from water. We need water to live. Ice is a little bit different. It's like a solid form. If the water doesn't flow, it can't spread its nutrients to the rest of the world. To be a true foundation for others, you have to be in a state of flow. So remember that. I mean, this metaphor goes deeper, and I think if you even guys meditated on this metaphor, meditated on the idea of what ice can do versus what water can do, and aligning yourself more with this image of not being stoic, but being fluid, here's the thing. Ultimately, you guys are going to be able to be so abundant you can provide for others, right? You are the river. You are the flow. You are the thing that nourishes the trees, the grass, the things that people view as like beautiful, flowers. Like you nurture life itself, or that's going to be your role pretty soon. I want to get into tarot cards now. Okay, let's get into tarot. I'm going to pull 3 because we already got 2 here. I'm just going to pull 3 cards for you today for tarot. Let's see what comes out. Chariot, Page of Wands, and Death Reverse. Give me a second. I'm feeling called to look at these really deeply right now. There's a story here. Sorry guys, I'm still trying to figure it out. There's a story here. This pig's face is like these eyes over here in this bush. I'm seeing this feeling of like okay, it's moving away from someone that loves your sense of stoicism. There's a person in your life that loves when you play this tough, stoic, strong one. And I'm feeling here that there's this feeling that a part of you is moving away in secret to kind of develop this fluidity in private. With Page of Wands, there's this feeling of assessing the state of being you want to be in and looking yourself clearly in your reflection. This is where you're going to melt into a fluid being. It's going to start within. So I feel like for you guys, there's this feeling of going within, meditation, whatever, by yourself, isolation. It's so funny because your family is kind of trying to pull you out, right? Trying to pull you out of this because it's like they're feeling you change. They're like feeling you change. And you might get a lot of text messages from friends and stuff like, hey, come hang out, come chill and stuff like that. But if you really feel like you don't want to, and you're in this state of like perfect harmony alone, you're being asked to immerse yourself in that because you're literally melting down those defenses, you know? And it would even be important to be honest with friends at this time as well. So for example, if friends invite you out, you really don't feel like going, it's not time to make up an excuse or something kind of responsibility you have to do, which would be a very ice thing to say. It's like, no, I got to support so-and-so and stuff like that. But a watery thing to say would be like, I don't feel like it. My energy is feeling low today and I don't want to go out. You know, stuff like that. It feels like an emotional reason rather than a kind of structural reason. And with the Chariot here and these eyes, which is this pig over here, moving away from this energy, there's this feeling of hiding this part of yourself around people in public, the people that love and cherish and care for you, and then trying to work with it in private. I think that's good ultimately, but there will be a point, I think, where it comes out in the public sphere and you move more fluidly in the public. But I feel like you guys are going to do the most melting and development of this new personality in private. So keep that in mind. I also think with the Page of Wands, the fashion is important. Page of Wands to me is like the fashion critic. Like sometimes I see that as the energy, the traditional Page of Wands. Just because all the wand energies, they're like the flashiest, most flamboyant, like, you know, like well-dressed, like court cards, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like they've got the style, you know what I'm saying? So Page of Wands is that assessment of that. Like, where do I want to go with my look? You know, so keep that in mind. A lot of this is going to be dealing with like external force factors as well. Like, remember, like I said, what you're dressed in, what you're comfortable in. Remember that part of the reading as well. You know, what kind of style do you feel best in? And maybe you're exploring that in private, you know, before you move out and get into the world. I also think with the Death card in reverse, this is a very long-term permanent transition. It's devoid of change. And when you emerge out of this, it's going to be something that you're going to integrate for the rest of your life. Sometimes I see that with the Death reversed. It's a card Death reversed of like immortality or change that is kind of being held off. So it's like, it's a death that never comes is the best way I can provide it. Say it. The best way I can say it is like, it's a death that never comes. A lot of times when I get this card reversed in a relationship reading, at least in the past readings I've done, it always represents partners who are addicted to each other and can't let go. You know, Death reverse is like, I can't let go. I can't let go of this. And so I think you're going to be so attached to this new form of yourself, this watery form of yourself, you won't let go. This is a feeling where it's like, you guys might think like you're going to bounce back to the sense of stoicism or something like that. It's really a transformation. It's reminding me of progress charts and like transits that are permanent in our lives, something like that are identity shifting transits that are permanent, where we're moving from one being into the next and we don't go back. So keep that in mind, that this is a journey type thing in this lifetime. And I think this is a transformative position, but ultimately if you're worried you're going to change back, it's a kind of like an immortal transition. It's something that's going to last until the end of life or into the next life. It's this journey you're on, evolving and developing. This does feel a little longer term, especially because we have the Earth Rabbit here. This feels like a longer term energy, steadier energy. It also feels like it comes in leaps with the rabbit energy here. So keep that in mind. I already mentioned some of the things you could do to help the situation. A lot of it has to do with your style, how you dress, and not just like for visual purposes, but what do you feel comfortable in? How do you want to dress? Like, what do you feel comfortable in? What makes you feel the most like secure, confident, and also like, what really resonates with your emotions and your sentimentality and how you feel. Like, I don't know, there's a feeling of like mysticism to how you guys dress or how you will start to dress is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. The other thing that I want to say for you guys is keep your music in order. People are like, a lot of people say like, oh, I just feel comfortable when I'm in a clean house. If the house is too messy, I can't really relax. That's how you guys are with your music. If your music is cluttered, if you have songs on there that you just are super old and you don't really like, but they keep popping up, that's going to annoy you guys and block abundance. Keep that music fresh. Keep it ordered is what I'm hearing. All right, guys. One last message. In harmony with the seasons, it's going to ebb and flow with the seasons. So if this particular road to abundance is seasonal, like maybe it only happens in the spring or the fall, that could be a confirmation for some of you as well. But overall, I'm going to end the reading here. Like and comment if you feel like that. Subscribe if you want to see more readings like this. Thank you guys again for letting me read for you. I do appreciate it. And, I love you guys. I feel like you guys need to hear a lot of loving affirmations. I know you live in a loving environment. I know you have that like perfect world, but honestly, some people just need more love than others in the sense that they need to be told more that they're loved. And so just want you to let you know I love you. I don't obviously know you, but I'm reading for your energy here. So in a way, I feel like I know you a little bit. And, I just want to let you know I love you and other people love you, and you're deserving of all of this and much more. So thank you guys again, and I'll catch you in the next reading. Bye.